So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening in the conditions that you can see here now, on the eve of Maíre Drumm's 46th anniversary. So my name's Cathal Donnelly, and I'm honoured to be the chairperson of the common that's named after Maíre in North Louth. And I've been asked to say a few words in her memory here today. We are also very honoured by the presence of Maíre's youngest son, John, here today, who lives in the McAteer home house just up the road. So a very special welcome to you, John. I'm conscious that October is a poignant month for the Drumm McAteer family. Maíre's birthday falls on the 22nd, and you can see the flowers laid by her family on Saturday here today. Also, last Thursday was the first anniversary of Maíre's favourite niece and John's daughter, Margaret, who sadly passed away following a long battle with cancer. Margaret was always immensely proud of her Auntie Maíre, and the two of them were strong, independent women who never backed down in the face of adversity. For my own part, growing up in a Republican household not far from here in Feed, Mount Pleasant, my three brothers and I were raised on the stories of icons and heroes of the Republican struggle. Among the names we learned, Wolfe Tone, James Connolly and Bobby Sands, the name of Maíre Drumm held particular reverence and respect. When I think about Maíre, or Mary as she would be known to people here, I recall the words of another great revolutionary socialist, Che Guevara, who once said, "At the risk of seeming ridiculous, let me say that the true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolutionary lacking this quality. We must strive every day so that this love of living humanity will be transformed into actual deeds, into acts that serve as examples and a moving force." And a moving force Maíre was. In 1958, Maíre led a protest to Crumlin Road Jail after the prison authorities dictated that the men's letters and parcels were no longer allowed. The women, unarmed, rushed the gates using their prams to clear the way. In the face of heavy, violent resistance and battening by warders, the mothers were victorious, entering the jail and delivering the letters and parcels. In 1969, when the Orange State was engaging in attempts at ethnic cleansing, facilitating the burning out of Catholics from their homes, Maíre did not simply use words to fight back, as may have been easy to do, but engaged actively in efforts to support and rehouse the affected families. Opening her home and what she and her family had to the needs of others, so much so that her son Seamus described a rota system for bath time in the house and recalled disputes over television channels. In 1970, as British occupation forces attempted to disarm Republican resistance in the Falls, Maíre led what must be one of the greatest acts of civil resistance of the 20th century. Leading thousands of women armed only with prams full of food and medicine through the lower falls, in stark defiance of the invaders, she helped to deliver aid to the beleaguered families caught within the British curfew zone. This act not only served to embarrass the British Army, but demonstrated for all to see the power of solidarity in countering imperialism. Of course, there is no greater act of love than raising a child, and Maíre raised 5, during a period in which her husband Jimmy was interned. This may have offered inspiration for the tactic of using prams as tools of resistance. These actions reflect only a fraction of Maíre's incalculable contribution to the Republican struggle, but I feel demonstrate clearly the driving forces of love and solidarity that were at the core of her resistance to British rule. Maíre was involved in all aspects of our struggle, physically, intellectually and morally. She embodied and inspired in those around her the ideas of the socialist republic we strive for today. In today's political reality, where our movement is led by 2 women, it can be easy to forget the challenges that faced women like Maíre in the Ireland of her time, even within our own movement and communities. Our struggle has always been shaped, driven and kept alive by women, many of whom have not received the same attention as their male comrades. History has traditionally been written by men, but the subjects of which they write have been wrought by the strength of women like Maíre. As with all great revolutionaries, the danger that Maíre's ideals and actions posed to the British military presence in Ireland were sufficient to make her a prime target for not just agents in uniform, but the criminal gangs the British state ran in secret. The hope and dignity of Maíre's life will forever outshine the hate of the cowards that took it. Their dreams fade while Maíre's grows brighter every day. It is the sacrifice and vision of people like Maíre Drumm that will lead us to the Republic. Gura mai agah. So I'll now ask Councillor Adele Corrigan to lay a wreath on behalf of the Maíre Drumm Sinn Féin Cumann. And I'll get out of your road to do it. Sin folks.
When she went down the Falls Road with the Andersonstown women, along with the prams and everything, it was the Black Watch had just come in, and they came in for to clear the whole road. They were the next best thing to the parish that could be got, and they were so mesmerised when they saw the crowd coming down with the prams, they lifted the barricades to let them through it, which they had only just put up, and the women marched through the wee streets. And they had food and they had milk, and they gave out all they had to give out, and whatever help they took out of it I don't know, but they took some people out of it and marched back up the road again, and that was a big thing. But it was Andersonstown women she gathered up to come over. Well, she was very manly and brave, as we know. Well, I'm sorry her brothers didn't follow her. So we thought one martyr was enough. So anyway, we lived only about a quarter of a mile away from, less than that. We could see her house from our house in Belfast. And I used to go over now occasionally in the car. Now the soldiers had our Silver City, as we called it, their encampment just outside our door. They never stopped me, or they never asked me where I was going or anything. But this particular time, as one regiment came in, the other one overlapped for a week or so to show them the ropes. So the new regiment was just in, and he stopped me. He looked for my licence and he said, "Where are you going?" And I thought for a wee second, I hadn't very much time to think. And I said, "Mr. McCann's, number 10, Glassmolton Gardens." So this other soldier came over, he said, "You all right there, mate?" And he says, "Yeah, this gentleman's going to number 10, Glassmolton Gardens, Mr. McCann." "Oh yeah," he says, "that's next door to the mouth." So then he said, "Okay," and he handed me the licence, and away I went. So when I got over there, I stopped at McCann's door because the sentry was watching me, you see, and I went down the wee alleyway and into our garden and in through the back door. And she said, whenever I'm in, "Well, what took you in that way?" And I told her the story. And she said, "Did you not tell them I was your sister?" And I said, "Well, I did, but they mightn't have heard me. I was out of McCann's door there when I said it to them." So that was about the height of my bravery, I can tell you that.
Very good, very good. Good one.
A rebel heart, from taints of thraldom free. God prosper still, for good or ill, this rebel heart and me.